that was gonna be my question. Jobs, I mean, it seems to me like if you wanna, instead of raising taxes, get more people working and paying in,
Right.
also increase it. So my question is, what can we do about keeping jobs in America?
Yeah.
We have jobs, but they go to, NAFTA takes them to other countries and so forth. That's my understanding anyway. But what can we do about jobs here for
Well,
us?
free trade is a great thing, and we gotta make sure it's fair trade as well. NAFTA, CAFTA has all had a benefit, a net benefit to the United States with equal or better paying jobs. There are voices out there that would have you believe that that's the boogeyman, but they're saying that. They're saying that because they don't want you to see the true boogeyman, and that's overweening, over-costly government and over-regulated government. If we reduce the unnecessary regulation in this state, we'd have more jobs coming to this state. If we reduce the unnecessary taxes and fees that are placed on businesses just to keep the ship of state running, we have more jobs in the state. There is no way that I think any legitimate thinking person in this room or in this district or in this country can ever think that any nation's workforce can outwork us, can outproduce us, and can do it in a more quality way, an efficient way, if we're given the opportunity. And Michigan can prove that. With the manufacturing capabilities that we have still here, sadly sitting too much idle, because we've had the hurdles put in the way of by government unnecessarily. And while the governor, for instance, says, we're open for business, underneath the table she's saying, yeah, we're open, but you're going to go through this red tape. So they get to our border and they say, I'm not willing to do that, I'll go to Indiana. Mitch Daniels will cut me that red tape in 4 weeks, as opposed to 18 months in Michigan. And I'll be just as happy. So that's, I think, what we have to do. We get the government out of the way of being the competitor to private industry, like they are. Mexico, China, India, they won't compete with us. And we'll be exporting to millions and millions of people that will take our goods and services as opposed to us now being forced to go to China to get things that we buy in Walmart. And not knocking Walmart. The lot's always full of us people. But that's because government has placed a heavy load on the citizens and on the workforce of this country to produce in a competitive way. Let me add one other thing. In relationship to trade agreements, my opposition will try to portray me as one who wants to export our jobs offshore. It's pretty hard to say that if you know the facts, that I was sponsor of the bill in Congress, again, that Nancy Pelosi sat on in committee and never let a hearing come to, that would establish for the first time in our country a trade prosecutor. We lived up to our trade agreements. For instance, Mexico doesn't always do that. Sugar agreement, for instance, they don't live up to that. But we don't have any force out there that prosecutes that and keeps up to date on all of the trade agreements. So I wanted to have in place a trade prosecutor that goes in and says, Mexico, you're not living up to that agreement, and here was what you signed, here's the penalty if you continue to do that. And we are going to enforce it. That didn't even get a hearing. So when you hear Pelosi and Mark Schauer and others screaming about offshoring jobs, they weren't willing to even do what's necessary to enforce the agreements that we have. And like Social Security, a lockbox, they don't want that. They want to keep spending. Offshoring issues, they don't want a trade prosecutor because they love it politically to be able to jump on those of us who believe in capitalism and understand the benefit of capitalism.
True.